Hey everyone, I'm Melanie from Streamline Legal, where we help law firms get the most out of their practice management software. And let me adjust this microphone a little bit so you can hear me better. Today we're talking about Google, specifically Gmail. And I was having a conversation today about specifically Gmail's archive feature. And it made me remember, honestly, I've been using Gmail for at least 15 years now. And so I had forgotten that when I first started using Gmail, I too was very concerned about this little button they have that's called archive. And where do the archived messages go? It sounds so final, like I'm going to have trouble finding them again, or it's going to be a pain to get them back. I know when I archive my paper documents and I have to send them off to storage and then I have to order the box back again, that's a big deal. So I didn't know. I was nervous about it as well. But the good news is that archiving a Gmail message is not near as final as archiving a paper document or other types of archiving that we might do on our computers. And I want to encourage you that the archive button is actually fantastic. And let's not think of it maybe as archiving, but maybe just think of it as removing it from the inbox, because that's really all it's doing. So I do want to show you and make sure that you're comfortable with this archive button so that you can get the most out of your Gmail software. So let's dive into the software over here. If you take a look here, I've got my Gmail account and you'll see that I've got all these messages in here. And let's take a look at this Google security message, right? So this pops up. Let's say I want to archive it. Again, really, if we're just thinking of it's taking it out of my inbox, right? So I can come over to the archive button, I can archive it, it disappears from my inbox, right? What if I want to find that message again? It is super easy. In fact, to use Google search, right? I mean, a lot of people use Google search, right? And so when I do that, I can see that very easily. The security alert right here that I just archived is right there. So the search it makes it very easy to find that message again. But where does it go? Like, where does it live? Where does it exist? Um, you know, frankly, I think it's just a bit of Google magic. But the reality is that if I come over here and I click on more in this menu over here, I've got a section here called All Mail. If I click on All Mail, it's going to show me every email message that's come in, whether I archived it like this one right here that we just saw, or if it's still in my inbox. And so it's very easy to find those messages again, whether I'm searching for it or whether it's sitting in my all mail, I can find it pretty easily. Now, you want to find it even easier, I'm going to go ahead and in this message, before I archive it, I'm going to go ahead and put a label on it. So for example, let's say that, this is for Mr. Patel, one of my clients. I'm going to come down here and put a Patel label on it, right? And that way it's going to show up under clients. Now, you'll see in this case, I have a label called clients, and then I have another label called Patel underneath that client. They call them nested labels. So when I come over here to look at my different labels, you'll see the client label. And if I click on the little arrow there, it's going to show me all the different client labels that I have. In this case, I have Mr. Patel's label. So I label it with Mr. Patel. I go ahead, go back to my inbox. It's not there still, right? Because I archived it, but I also labeled it. So if I don't want to search for it by a name or a subject or an email address, and I don't want to look in all mail because I get a lot of mail and it's going to be harder to find there. Now I can just click on the Patel label and it's going to show up there, all the messages that I've labeled for Mr. Patel. And so it is really easy to find stuff in Gmail, which is what makes that archive not so final, right? So again, here's what I would suggest for best practices when using Gmail. I get a message. I want to go ahead and save that message. Much like, by the way, I would do in Outlook, right? In Outlook, I'm going to put the message, hopefully, I'm going to have some folders in the menu on the side in Outlook, and I can go ahead and save that message by just dragging it into the folder, right? It takes it out of my inbox, puts it into the folder for that client. To accomplish the same thing in Gmail, I'm going to go ahead and take my message. I'm going to go ahead and label it with the client's label, right? And then I'm going to archive it because I don't have anything else I need to do with it. It doesn't need to stay in my inbox. I've already looked at it. I've already addressed it. I'm going to archive it. Again, it comes out of my inbox. It's still, if I really need to see a history of all the emails, I could go to all mail It's still sitting there. Both of them are, right? But they're no longer in my inbox. And if I need to find them, I can simply go to the Patel label and find all my Patel labeled emails. Or I can go to the all mail to find them, or I can do a search by Patel. Whatever it is that's going to help me find that. But there's multiple ways I can find it again, whether it's archived or not. The archive, again, just simply takes it out of my inbox. And so, again, best practices, label it with the client's name, with the label of the client's name, and then archive it. So there's no longer in your inbox and you can find it very easily again. Similar to how we would drag and drop a folder or an email from the inbox into a client folder if we were working, let's say, in Outlook. Now, the benefit, of course, of using labels over folders is just simply that in Gmail, I can actually put multiple labels on an email. And anytime I search for any of those labels, that same message will come up since it's under multiple labels. And that can be really helpful. So for example, if I want to put a client label on there, that works well. If I have a lot of client emails and I actually want to put a label on all of the ones that talk about, a divorce matter they have. Maybe they also have another matter and I want to label those separately. So we can sort them by different labels by different matters. We can have, all kinds of different labels that will help us find those email messages later on. But we can do multiple labels in Gmail, whereas we can't necessarily do that in Outlook because we can only put a message in one folder at a time. So I hope that's helpful for you. I hope that you'll go ahead and embrace that archive button instead of being afraid of it. If you have any other questions about that archive button, feel free to drop them in the comments below and we'll go ahead and explore that together. Thanks so much. Have a great evening. We'll see you soon.